Bitch, she get that hollering. I ain't no jungle, I stopped 6 years ago. From fucking hoes until you realize.
Kanye-Ah-Suh, it's your boy Jeremy, aka Marakai Boy, back at it again with another video about my mini bike. However, in this episode, we discover that putting on a torque converter without using a riser plate or some sort like that can be a little bit hazardous, or of course not all peaches and cream. But I still wanted to show you guys exactly what went down, so let's take a look. So I'll begin by going ahead and starting to remove the bolts that are going to hold the clutch in place, as well as that jack shaft. Now to get that jack shaft off, I used a big adjustable crescent wrench. However, you may want to look at, other options if you have like a 22 socket, whatnot. But you may need to hold that brake in order to stop it in place to go ahead and get that removed. Once you have that off, you can start looking at removing that tensioner bracket. Once you get that off, you'll be able to get the other chain off as well that's going to be connected to that jack shaft. Now, keep in mind that jack shaft that's there is going to be a pretty important key whenever you're switching over to your torque converter, because there's going to be a new jack shaft that you're going to be putting in. Right now, though, in the video, I'm showing you where I had a 9-tooth gear right there, and that actually made me lose a lot of torque, but I picked up speed, maxed out at about 47. Here I'm starting to remove the clutch here as well, and kind of looking at the damage from it. That clutch was pretty burnt out. Next here, we're starting to go ahead and remove that jack shaft. Here I had to kind of wiggle it out and play with it some, and I think I ended up just using a hammer to kind of tap it out all the way. So a couple of taps. Following that, since everything was off of the jack shaft plate, I decided to go ahead and give this a quick clean. So I just hit it with some brake cleaner and a little kind of steel brush. I guess it's not really one of the copper tough ones, but of course, cleaning, you want to go ahead and wipe it down some. Following that, I ended up sliding that thrust washer on there. That's going to be for the torque converter. You'll see more about that later. This, of course, is me installing that new jack shaft. Now this, I had something in between there. I can't really describe it because I can't quite remember. I do apologize. But I had to have my friend here help me out, aka Markusan, aka Nismo Junkie. Check out his channel in the corner. Go ahead and help me slide that through. Next here, we were going to go ahead and start fitting and sliding on the gears and putting on the washer and everything. And I just wanted to kind of test fit this pulley. Now, in the video that I watched, it was described that you could basically go ahead and do this, and all you had to do was end up cutting that rear piece that you see me tapping. That's actually going to be for your brake guard. Here, I can't stress enough, please make sure anytime you're using power tools that you're doing it in a safe way, meaning that you're wearing safety gloves and safety glasses. So here I'm starting to cut that rear piece that is actually there for kind of structural safety, but as well as it's a bracket for your chain guard. But once that is cut off and removed, in this video I watched, it was explained that you could then go ahead and get that slid on. I gave it a couple of taps and it still wasn't fitting. Following that, I'll start putting on this shaft adapter. So the 196 motor is like a 3/4, I believe. The 5/8 is normally on like a 212 or 224 motor, and this shaft will allow you to use the bigger bore. So once I got everything installed here, again, I was going to end up having to do some adjusting here. Now, the video that I was watching mentioned using 120 grit sandpaper and starting the bike, and then of course giving it some revs and getting it shaved down a little bit by letting it spin on the sandpaper. So I went ahead and did that and got it shaved down. And once it was shaved down to fit, I was able to go ahead and fit on the pieces for putting the front pulley on. Following that, it does have a socket piece that goes on there to make sure that it adapts. Here you can see that I'm going to be putting on the rear pulley alongside with the belt. This was kind of my final installation, if you will. Then I went on ahead and put the belt overwards and connected it to the thrust washer that's on there. You can then go ahead and slide on the pieces to put on the front pulley. Of course, I took a little picture from my friends in the group chat. Then I went ahead and installed this bolt. Now, this bolt in particular, you can't reuse the bolt that you get that you use for your clutch, but primarily because it's just way too short. way too short. You need a bolt that's going to be at least a good 2 to 2.5, 3 inches maybe. I can't quite remember the bolt that I got. I just went to my local Ace Hardware and picked up a bolt. Picked up a few bolts actually to try and test it out and make sure I had the right size. Of course, having some Loctite is always going to be a nice solution as well to make sure that once it's in that it's tight. But you want to make sure that you have it all good. And then you're just going to reverse the process with that rear pulley, giving it a tighten. Of course, if you have someone around, go ahead and have them do that. But I did have to kind of bang it some more. And again, I should have been aware at this time that it was not fitting properly. At this point, I would just like to say thank you guys for watching the video. Unfortunately, I didn't go and share any videos of me trying to ride or attempting to ride it because it wasn't rideable. Primarily because that back pulley was rubbing on my frame. However, I ended up going ahead and purchasing a riser plate, and I will have some videos to share on that. In the meantime, though, check out the links below for the things that I purchased, as well as stay tuned for some more footage. Thanks.
My bitch, she get that